Captain Olivia Martinez sat on the bridge of the EDS Defiant, drinking her coffee as the huge alien ship appeared suddenly in Earth's orbit. The Earth defense ships quickly moved into position, but Martinez felt strangely calm. The alien message appeared on the main screen. A lizard-like being with fancy purple-black scales and many eye ridges stared at her with what looked like anger. "Weak humans, I am Grand Admiral Zex Thule of the Galactic Hegemony. Your planet now belongs to us. Give up now, or we will destroy you." Martinez raised an eyebrow and looked at her second-in-command, Lieutenant Commander Alan Jackson. "Is this guy serious?" Jackson whispered. The alien kept talking. "Our empire controls 3,000 star systems. Our warships fill the skies of 100 worlds. Your minds cannot understand our technology." Martinez pressed a button to stop the alien from hearing them. "Check what kind of weapons they have." San Nguyen, who handled communications, touched some buttons on his control panel. "Captain, their weapons are old and simple. The energy they use is like our early fusion power plants from decades ago." Martinez turned the sound back on. "Admiral Zex Thule, this is Captain Martinez. Thank you for introducing yourself. Maybe we could talk about this over some snacks. Our ship's kitchen makes really good cookies." The alien's face showed confusion before the screen went blank. Later that day, Martinez called a meeting with her top officers in the ship's conference room. "What do we know about these Galactic Hegemony people?" she asked, looking around the table. Science officer Lily Patel pulled up some data on her tablet. "They appear to be from a star system about 40 light-years away. Their technology is mixed. They have faster-than-light travel, but many of their other systems are surprisingly basic. Their weapons couldn't even damage our smallest ships," added Security Chief Joe Wilson. "It's like they're trying to fight tanks with water pistols." Martinez nodded. "And yet they act like they're the most powerful force in the galaxy. Either they're bluffing, or they really believe it," finished Jackson. "Maybe they've only met much less advanced civilizations before now." Communications suddenly beeped. Nguyen checked his panel. "Captain, we're getting another message from the alien ship. They're inviting us aboard for a surrender ceremony tomorrow." Martinez couldn't help but smile. "Tell them we accept their invitation, but we'll be bringing our own transportation. And some cookies." As the meeting ended, Martinez stayed behind, looking out the window at the alien ship. It was big and covered with what looked like decorative spikes and bright colors. It reminded her of how small animals sometimes puff themselves up to look bigger to predators. "Computer," she said quietly, "send a message to Earth Defense Command. Tell them we've made first contact with an alien species that appears to have an inflated sense of their own importance. Recommend diplomatic approach rather than military. And add a note. Bring chocolate chip cookies to the first meeting. I have a feeling they might be effective diplomacy tools." As she watched, small lights began flashing all over the alien ship in patterns that were probably meant to look threatening. Instead, they looked like a child's toy. Martinez smiled. First contact was going to be interesting. Ambassador William Garcia checked his watch as he waited in the United Nations Extraterrestrial Affairs building in Geneva. Today was the first official diplomatic meeting with the Galactic Hegemony, and no one knew what to expect. "Remember," his assistant Nicole Wright whispered, "they think being scary is the best way to talk to other species. Try not to laugh." Too late. The doors opened, and 12 hegemony aliens marched in wearing what looked like battle armor covered with small animal skulls. The lead diplomat, Sub-Commander Krolvex, walked with big, heavy steps that made the floor shake. "Look at me," he shouted, his translator device making crackling sounds. "I wear the bones of my defeated enemies." Garcia bit his lip to stop from smiling. "Those are squirrel skulls. These strange ist yours from CCVNTE in worlds." Wright leaned close to Garcia. "Sir, their records show their home planet has animals very similar to our squirrels." Sub-Commander, Garcia said calmly, Earth welcomes you. Maybe we could talk about trade instead of conquest. We have excellent coffee. Quiet. We do no TTLK about trade. Gwiwi. Krolvex stopped suddenly, sniffing the air. Is that chocolate? Wright had opened a box of Swiss chocolate treats. The alien's eyes widened. What is this brown substance? Just a small gift from Earth, Garcia said, pushing the box forward. Please, try one. Kralvex picked up a chocolate with his three-fingered hand, studied it suspiciously, then put it in his mouth. His eyes went wide. This is... He seemed unable to find words. Then he turned to his fellow aliens. Quick, try this food. It must be why humans are so happy all the time. The meeting changed completely. Soon, all the aliens were eating chocolates and asking questions about Earth food instead of talking about conquest. You mean you have thousands of different kinds of these desserts? Asked Kralvex, now sitting comfortably with a cup of hot chocolate. Yes, every culture on Earth has their own special sweets, Garcia explained. That's just one of many things we could trade with your people. By the end of the meeting, Kralvex had removed his scary armor. It was too hot for such nice conversations, and was enthusiastically discussing possible trade agreements. As they were leaving, Kralvex pulled Garcia aside. I must ask something important, he said in a low voice. Our emperor told us humans would be scared of our display of power, but you just offered us food. Why weren't you afraid? Garcia thought carefully before answering. On Earth, real strength isn't about looking scary or making threats. It's about confidence, kindness, and building relationships. Kralvex looked confused. But how do you conquer new worlds with kindness? We don't want to conquer anyone, Garcia replied. We'd rather make friends. That evening, Garcia called President Wong to report on the meeting. It went better than expected, he said. They've agreed to a cultural exchange program before any more talk of surrender. Apparently, their entire diplomatic approach is based on looking intimidating, but they've never met a species that wasn't impressed by it. And the chocolate worked? Asked the president. Like magic, Garcia replied with a smile. Their next ship is arriving tomorrow with their cultural experts. I'm recommending we take them to a music festival. Good idea, said the president. Let's show them Earth knows how to have fun. As Garcia hung up, he wondered what the aliens would think of rock concerts, movies, and ice cream. This was going to be interesting. General Frank Rivera stood in Earth Defense Command's main control room, watching the large screen with a mixture of confusion and amusement. The hegemony fleet was performing what they called intimidation maneuvers in Earth's orbit. What exactly are they trying to do? Asked Colonel Diana Edwards, standing next to him. According to their message, they're showing us their superior battle formations, Rivera replied, trying to keep a straight face. On the screen, 20 alien ships moved in patterns that looked more like a dance than anything military. They formed circles, then lines, then something that resembled a flower shape. Sir, reported Lieutenant Greg Padel from the sensor station, they're broadcasting on all channels. They want to make sure we're watching. Oh, we're watching all right, Rivera said. I don't think I could look away if I tried. The alien ship suddenly shifted and began spelling something in space. Is that supposed to be words? Edwards asked, tilting her head. I believe that's their emperor's name in their language, Rivera explained. Though from here it looks more like a happy face with ears. The ships finished their pattern, and then, without warning, fired what appeared to be their main weapons. Bright beams of energy shot toward Earth, only to disappear harmlessly against the planet's standard defensive shields. The room fell silent for a moment. Was that it? Edwards finally asked. Patil checked his readings. Sir, their weapons are roughly equal to our technology from about 80 years ago. The energy didn't even make our shields warm up. Rivera nodded and picked up the communication device. Hegemony Fleet, this is Earth Defense Command. Thank you for your demonstration. It was very colorful. Perhaps we could offer some help with your navigation systems. You seem to be drifting toward our space station. On the screen, one of the alien ships was indeed moving too close to Earth's orbital station. The alien commander's voice came through, sounding annoyed. We need no help. This is a planned approach to show our precision. Just then, the alien ship had to make a quick turn to avoid hitting the station, causing two other hegemony ships to change course suddenly. In the confusion, one small alien ship bumped into Earth's garbage collection vessel. The room filled with poorly hidden laughter as space trash, empty food containers, old equipment parts, and what looked like someone's lost shoe spread around the alien ship. Should we send a cleanup crew to help them? Edwards asked, fighting a smile. I think that would be the polite thing to do, Rivera agreed. And maybe we should show them a real military display, just so they understand. He gave orders, and 5 minutes later, a squad of Earth's smallest defense ships appeared. They moved in perfect formation, performing complex maneuvers at high speed without a single mistake. They finished by splitting into two groups that passed through each other without slowing down, a move that required split-second timing. The alien communication channel was silent for a long time after that. Finally, the hegemony commander spoke again, his voice much less confident. Your pilots must train for many years to do this. Actually, Rivera replied kindly, those ships are running on automatic pilot. No humans on board, just our basic training program. Another long silence followed. Perhaps, the alien commander finally said, we could discuss a joint training exercise. 2. Share knowledge between our forces. Rivera smiled. We'd be happy to arrange that. And don't worry about the garbage. These things happen even to the best space navies. As he ended the call, Rivera wondered if the aliens were finally starting to understand that Earth wasn't as easy to intimidate as they had hoped. Dr. Cynthia Lopes straightened the books on her desk as she waited for her unusual visitor. As Earth's leading expert on alien cultures, she had been chosen to host the hegemony's cultural attaché at her university office. The door burst open, and a tall, purple-scaled alien strutted in. He wore a cape covered in shiny metals, and walked with his chest puffed out. I am Vril Korx, cultural superior of the galactic hegemony, he announced loudly. I have come to educate you about our magnificent civilization. Welcome, cultural superior, Lopes said calmly. I'm Dr. Lopes. I'm excited to learn about your people. Vril Korx looked around her office, his eyes stopping on a small potted plant. He pointed at it dramatically. Even your plants are weak and small. Our hegemony plants reach the sky and eat small animals. Lopes smiled politely. That's just a desk plant. Would you like to see our botanical gardens later? First, I must show you our glorious cultural achievements, Vril Korx declared, activating a small device on his wrist. A hologram appeared in the middle of the room, showing aliens in colorful costumes jumping around and making strange movements with their arms and legs. Behold our most feared war dance, Vril Korx announced proudly. This strikes terror into the hearts of our enemies. Lopes watched with interest. The dance looked remarkably similar to the chicken dance played at human weddings. The aliens flapped their arms, wiggled their bodies, and clapped their hands in a familiar pattern. Very impressive, she said, keeping her voice professional. Would you like to see some human cultural expressions? If you must, Vril Korx said with a wave of his hand. Though they cannot compare to ours. Lopes turned on her computer and pulled up a video of a ballet performance. Vril Korx's eyes widened as he watched the dancers leap and spin with graceful movements. How do they jump so high? He asked, his voice suddenly quiet. Years of training, Lopes explained. Dance is very important in human culture. She showed him more videos, breakdancing, tango, traditional dances from around the world. With each one, Vril Korx moved closer to the screen, his earlier boasting forgotten. Your dancers would be valued as elite warriors in the hegemony, he finally admitted. Such control and strength. Lopes smiled. Perhaps we could arrange a cultural exchange. Some of our dancers could visit your world, and your performers could come to Earth. Yes, Vril Kork said, suddenly excited. Our emperor loves new entertainment. But he looked embarrassed. Could you teach me a simple Earth dance? For research purposes only, of course. 2 hours later, Dr. Lopes was trying not to laugh as Vril Kork attempted to moonwalk across her office floor. This Michael Jackson must have been a powerful warrior, he said, concentrating hard on sliding his foot backward. He was the king of pop, Lopes agreed. By the end of the day, Vril Kork had abandoned his cape and medals and was enthusiastically learning the Macarena. He also asked countless questions about human music, art, and literature. As he was leaving, he paused at the door. Dr. Lopes, I must confess something. We were told humans were simple creatures with no real culture. I was sent to make you feel inferior. And what will you report back? She asked. Vril Kork smiled, showing rows of sharp teeth. That humans have much to teach us, and that I need more dance lessons. The next day, Lopes received a message that 6 more hegemony cultural representatives were arriving, all requesting tours of Earth's museums, theaters, and concert halls. The invasion, it seemed, had taken an unexpected turn. Admiral Zex Thule stood on the bridge of his flagship, watching Earth grow larger on the main screen. Behind his ship came the pride of the hegemony fleet, the massive battle station that the Emperor had named Planet Crusher. It was round and covered with shiny panels that reflected the sun's light. Is the weapon ready? Zex Thule asked his weapons officer. Yes, Admiral. The ultimate planet destroyer is fully charged and ready to terrify the humans. Zex Thule smiled, showing his sharp teeth. Today, Earth would finally see the true power of the hegemony. After weeks of embarrassing meetings and failed intimidation attempts, the Emperor had sent their biggest weapon. Open communication with Earth, he ordered. President Lisa Wong sat in the Earth Defense Council room, watching the giant round ship appear on the screen. It looked strangely like a disco ball from the 1970s. Madam President, they're hailing us, said Communications Director Jack Foster. Put them through, Wong replied calmly. Admiral Zex Thule's face appeared on the screen. Humans, our patience has ended. Surrender your planet now, or we will show you our planet cracker weapon. President Wong looked to her Defense Secretary Ben Jones, who checked his tablet and shrugged. Their planet crusher appears to be an oversized mining laser, Jones whispered. Our shields can easily block it. It might burn some grass in a park at most. Wong nodded and turned back to the screen. Admiral Zex Thule, we must respectfully decline your offer of surrender. However, we would like to suggest a joint military exercise to show each other our capabilities. Zex Thule looked confused. You decline? But we have the planet crusher. Yes, and we would like to see it in action, Wong said with a pleasant smile. Perhaps you could demonstrate on one of the empty moons in our system. Then we could show you some of our technology. The Admiral's confidence seemed to waver. You want to see the planet crusher's power. Of course, that seems fair before any talk of surrender. After a brief discussion with his officers off-screen, Zex Thule agreed. Very well. We will show you true power. Then you will beg to join the hegemony. The transmission ended, and Wong turned to Jones. Prepare a demonstration of our defensive capabilities, but nothing that would actually harm them. And get Lieutenant Foster ready with the Mockingbird shuttle. 2 hours later, the Planet Crusher fired its main weapon at a small uninhabited moon. A bright beam shot out, hitting the moon's surface, and creating a crater about the size of a football field. That's it. Zex Thule demanded of his weapons officer. Why didn't it break apart? It appears Earth moons are made of harder material than we thought. Admiral, the officer replied nervously. Before Zex Thule could respond, Earth sent its message. Thank you for the demonstration. Now we will show you a simple training exercise. A single small shuttle launched from Earth, piloted by Lieutenant Megan Foster. As agreed, the entire Hegemony fleet would try to capture this unarmed shuttle to show their superior skills. What followed was 2 hours of the Hegemony's best ships chasing the shuttle through the asteroid belt, unable to catch it. Foster flew with incredible skill, making the alien ships look slow and clumsy. To make matters worse, someone had programmed the shuttle to play fast, silly music that broadcasted on all channels. When Foster finally returned to Earth without a scratch on her shuttle, Admiral Zex Thul's face had turned from purple to a pale blue color. "I think we need to reconsider our approach to Earth," he told his officers quietly. That evening, President Wang received a message from the Hegemony, requesting further cultural exchange before any military actions. The word surrender was noticeably absent. "I think they're finally getting it," she told her staff with a smile. Chief Intelligence Officer Kyle Rivera sat at his desk, staring at his computer screen with a mixture of disbelief and amusement. For the past week, the Hegemony had been trying to hack into Earth's defense systems. "Are they still at it?" asked his deputy, Maria Chen, bringing him a cup of coffee. "Yes, and you won't believe what they're using," Rivera said, pointing to his screen. "They're trying to break through our firewalls with something that works like an old dial-up modem from the 1990s. Chen looked over his shoulder at the progress bar slowly inching forward. "Should we stop them?" "I'm actually curious to see how long this takes," Rivera replied with a smile. "At this rate, they'll get into our public weather data sometime in the next 300 years. The Hegemony's attempts at espionage had started 3 days after the failed Planet Crusher demonstration. Earth's intelligence agencies had detected unusual signals aimed at military bases, government buildings, and major data centers. "They're trying everything," Rivera explained to President Wang during their daily briefing. "Hacking, spy drones, even old-fashioned listening devices. The problem is, their technology is decades behind ours." "So they're not a threat?" Wang asked. "Not to our systems, no. But it's interesting to see what they're looking for," Rivera said. "They seem most interested in our entertainment networks. They've spent more time trying to access streaming services than military files." The president laughed. "Maybe they're just looking for new TV shows." The Hegemony's spy drones were another source of amusement. They had deployed what they claimed were completely invisible spy machines around major Earth cities. These drones were painted black and made occasional whoosh noises that they apparently thought sounded like wind. Children in parks started collecting them as toys. 10-year-old Ethan Brown from Denver had found 6 in his backyard and was using them to carry messages to his friends across the street. "Mom, look, alien robots," he had shouted excitedly, showing his mother the small black device with blinking lights. News channels started running stories about the Hegemony toy invasion, with pictures of children playing with the captured spy drones. Some kids had painted them bright colors or added stickers. Rivera was studying one of these drones when he made an important discovery. Their universal translators are programmed with English that comes mostly from old action movies, he told his team. That explains why they talk the way they do. To test his theory, he sent a message to a Hegemony ship using quotes from famous action heroes. The response was immediate and enthusiastic, with the aliens clearly thinking they were having a normal conversation. "So all this time, they've been trying to sound like movie villains?" Chen asked. "Exactly," Rivera said. "They probably think that's how humans normally talk. No wonder they're confused when we don't react with fear." The final piece of the puzzle came when Earth intelligence officers intercepted a message from Admiral Zex Thul to the Hegemony Emperor. "Humans do not respond to traditional intimidation tactics," the message read. "They laugh at our weapons, they play with our spy drones, and their children are not afraid of our war faces. Most concerning of all, they have thousands of movies showing humans defeating alien invaders. They may have been preparing for us for centuries." Rivera couldn't help laughing as he read the message. "They think our science fiction movies are training videos," he told President Wang. "They believe we've been getting ready to fight aliens for decades." "Well," the president replied with a smile, "in a way, I suppose we have been." 6 months after first contact, Grand Admiral Zex Thule stood before the United Nations, looking very different from when he first appeared on Earth's screens. His battle armor was gone, replaced by what looked like a business suit made to fit his reptilian body. The scary spikes on his head had been smoothed down and polished. "The galactic hegemony has decided that Earth would make a better trading partner than a conquered world," he announced, his voice lacking its earlier dramatic tone. President Lisa Wong stepped forward to shake his hand, carefully, as he had 3 large fingers instead of 5. "Earth welcomes this new chapter in our relationship." What Zex Thule didn't mention was that the hegemony emperor had become completely addicted to Earth television shows and chocolate milkshakes. The royal palace now received daily shipments of Earth foods and entertainment, and the emperor had ordered his scientists to build something called a home theater system in the throne room. After the ceremony, Admiral Martinez, now promoted because of her successful handling of first contact, found Zex Thule enjoying the reception buffet. "I must know something," she said as he sampled a plate of cookies. "Did your people really think you could conquer Earth with outdated weapons and scary faces?" Zex Thule looked embarrassed. "We have successfully claimed 17 planets that way. They all surrendered as soon as we showed up and made threatening speeches." He sighed. "None of them had chocolate or Netflix." Martinez laughed. "So you've been bullying planets with no advanced technology." "It worked until we met humans," he admitted. "Your people kept offering us food instead of showing fear. It was very confusing." The peace treaty signed that day contained some unusual provisions. Earth would supply entertainment media, food products, and cultural exchanges. In return, the hegemony would provide star maps, limited technical knowledge about other species, and access to trade routes. Most importantly, the treaty recognized Earth as an independent world that would never be part of the hegemony empire. As Earth joined the wider galactic community, historians noted that humanity's strongest weapon had not been military power or advanced technology. Instead, it was something the hegemony had never seen before: the ability to see something ridiculous and respond with humor instead of fear. The hegemony themselves changed over the next few years. They officially changed their name to the Galactic Cooperative and hired human designers to create new uniforms without scary spikes or animal skulls. Their ships were repainted in friendly colors, and they started using normal language instead of shouting dramatic threats. Schools on both Earth and hegemony worlds began exchange programs. Human teachers were surprised to find that young hegemony children were very similar to Earth kids: playful, curious, and excited to learn about other worlds. "The funny thing," President Wang told her staff 1 year after the treaty, "is that we've given them mostly simple things: music, movies, food recipes, but they act like we've shared the greatest treasures in the universe." "Maybe to them, we have," her advisor replied. "They never had ice cream before." And what about Admiral Zex Thule? After serving as the first hegemony ambassador to Earth, he retired to a small island in the Caribbean. There, he opened a beach restaurant called Behold that became famous for its excellent tropical drinks and nightly dance parties. Every evening, tourists would watch with delight as the former fearsome admiral, wearing a colorful shirt and sunglasses, taught alien visitors how to dance to Earth music under the stars. When asked if he regretted the failed invasion, Zex Thule would just smile and say, "Some defeats are better than victories. Now, who wants to try my special chocolate banana smoothie? It's better than conquering planets."